Okay, so now we're gonna check Scout's vital signs, his TPR, his temperature, his pulse, and his respiratory rate. First, we'll start with his temperature. So I have his thermometer. I like to use the digital thermometers because they're a lot quicker and easier to use than the glass ones with the mercury in it. They're also just cheap. You can have many of them if they run out of batteries. I like to have each horse their own thermometer just in case they have an illness that can be transferable. We have petroleum jelly as a lubricant, so it goes in nice and smooth and doesn't agitate the horse. Now, some horses might not like this, which is very typical. So ideally, you want somebody to have the horse on a lead line and hold the horse for you in case the horse moves around. It's not great to have a horse in cross ties while you're doing this, but if you don't really have another option, then this is okay. You never want the horse to just be loose while you're trying to check their temperature. It leaves them open to maybe turn and kick you if they get annoyed or run off. So you need to have the horse secure. You need to stand to the side. Lift up the tail. If he gets agitated, starts moving around, or tries to kick me, I can get away easily and pull this right out. Usually thermometers have a string attached to it with a clip that you can attach to their tail. All right, here we go. So it was 100.2. And I want you to tell me, is that normal? So I always clean it, disinfect it. Okay, so I have my notepad. I'm going to write everything down. Again, his temp was 100.2. Next, I'm going to check his respiration. You can watch the horse's barrel as he breathes. And I'm going to time it as I watch it. So I'm going to time it for 30 seconds and then I'll just double it. So in 30 seconds, six breaths, so that is 12 a minute. I'm going to write that down. And I want you to tell me, is that normal? Another way to check for respiratory rate is by watching the horse breathe. You don't want to put your hand in front of their nose because then they might sniff your hand, flare their nostrils, and it's not going to be true breaths per minute. So if if their nostrils are flared, then there might be something wrong or agitating them. So in this case, I find it's a little bit harder to tell how much he's breathing because his nostrils are kind of just staying in place. And it seems a little bit more inconsistent watching it from his nostrils. If you're going to listen, that's risky because you're putting your face right up against the horse's mouth. So I wouldn't recommend trying to listen to their breath. So checking their barrel, that's the quickest way. And the easiest way to see how they're breathing. Okay, so next we're going to check his heart rate. We're going to check his pulse. We're going to listen to his heart. Good boy. We have a few different places that we can look at his pulse. We can do it right here under his jaw, which I'm going to time 15 seconds. No, don't move. It might take a second for you to really be able to feel it. Don't move, buddy. So I feel his pulse. Don't move, don't move. Okay, so it was 9, between like 9 and 10. Boy, so times that by 4. So it is around 36 to 40 beats per minute. So I'm gonna write that down. Tell me, is that normal? Okay, so his heart rate, using his pulse here under his jaw, 36 to 40 beats per minute. His temperature, 102 degrees. And his respiratory, 12 breaths per minute. Okay, so another place that you can check for the pulse is the digital pulse. The digital artery is down the leg, and you can either check up high or you can check lower. Either on the inside or the outside or the inside of the leg. And you can check all 4 legs, and it should be a faint pulse. It shouldn't be a bounding pulse. If you find that it's a bounding pulse, then the horse might be feeling some sort of discomfort in that specific leg, or it could be the opposite leg that they're easing off of, so they're putting more pressure on the other leg, which could create a bounding pulse. So again, we had the digital artery that runs down the leg, so we can either feel it in the fetlock or in the pastern. You can also check the heat in the hooves, because if you feel a digital pulse that's bounding, then there might be heat as well, and then there may be a problem. Okay, last, we're going to check his heart. So when we check the heart rate, it's on the left side of the horse, right behind their left elbow. And you should hear a lub-dub, lub-dub, lub-dub. Another thing that you can check if you're suspecting your horse isn't feeling well is their gut sounds. And we're gonna go over that later on when we cover colic, but we want to hear gut sounds. You can either listen with your ears or use a stethoscope. And when you listen to gut sounds, you want to listen to both sides of the horse. Usually you listen a little bit higher on the right side and a little bit lower on the left. Okay, so that's Scout's vital signs, and I want to know what you think. Is it normal? Is everything okay with him?